So, what is the best mid to high tier handheld radio to buy? There's lots and lots of videos about Baofeng radios and well, what are the Quansheng? There's so many different models now, isn't there, Tio? But we want to talk today about the next level up.
Yes.
So, one of the most popular radios which is going around, I've seen heaps of these, and I've got one myself, and it's a little bit of oh, a little bit of an in-house joke about how long I've had this without actually pulling it out of the box, is the FT5D. What do you think to this radio? This is sort of a high-end radio, isn't it?
It is. It has a humongous amount of features that are confusing to use. And I have used mine like 4 or 5 times. And every so often I'll turn it on, I'll hit a button, I'm like, oh crap, what did I do?
Does it have this blue and pink outline? Because that would be cool if it had LEDs to actually do that, but it doesn't have that.
No, not in real life.
So yeah, that's a high end radio. You've got one of those out of the box. I think you've got it right there. What do you think to it? What was your first sort of thoughts for, say, someone who's new, who's looking? Because a lot of the time we say, hey, just go out and buy a $30 radio, but you might necessarily want to spend a little bit more and get some more features. Like this thing's got Bluetooth, it's got other stuff as well, which a lot of newer radios have got these days. But what was your thought with that?
My thought is that it's extremely confusing to use. So I mean it does a lot of things. Like it'll do APRS and it'll do real APRS where, some of your
Yes.
cheaper radios, I don't have one handy, they'll just beacon APRS whenever they feel like it, or whenever you unkey, they'll beacon on the frequency you're currently on, which doesn't really help you any. But you can't like send a message. You can on the FT5, you can actually with great difficulty, you can send an SMS message from the front panel of the radio.
Yeah. So an FT5 also comes with C4 FM as well,
Yes,
digital. So it's not just an analog radio, but it's also digital. So you get that as well for the extra money that you're paying. How's
yeah,
the
Don's
audio
right.
on it?
Smart beaconing is good.
Oh, you mentioned. So let's circle back to APRS. It doesn't have a real TNC in it though. That's the only thing.
No, you can only APRS from the radio itself, or
Yep.
you can
And for newbies who are
make a
watching this, and for newbies who are watching this, APRS is automatic positioning radio system, which is a years old protocol technology that was used sort of back in the 90s. I think it was
right.
developed 90s, early 2000s. But it's still in use and it's pretty popular still today. But one of the things which is good to have is a TNC, terminal node controller, to be able to interface to it, to be able to send just normal packet, because normal packet's pretty cool.
Right.
But this doesn't have that. Um, what's the audio like on that?
I haven't had any complaints either in receiving or in talking with people, but I also don't do a lot of talking on the radio. My thing, as you know, in ham radio is experimenting and playing and modifying technology and making videos to share with people. And there's just nobody around here to talk to on the radio.
So, well, you can have all-star nodes, or you can have your hotspots and stuff if you're stuck, and you can set that up. And the good thing about the FT5 is that you can do that with a hotspot. Is get this going on C4 FM and talk to all of your friends all over the place. So this one is a little bit on the higher end of stuff. We decided to start this stream on the high end because why not? I mean, let's
Right.
start high and work low. So the FT5 is, it is on the high end. There's a affiliate link in the description if you would like to check it out. Let me know in the comments though what radios you would recommend for these mid to high tier radios, because we do have a couple of others which we're going to show off too. The FT5 that I've got here, we're actually going to finally unbox this thing. We might even switch it on and see if it's got any battery power, because I've had this officially just over a year. Has anyone actually owned a radio and not opened it up in over a year? I don't know anyone else.
Right? You're special.
Yeah, I am special. Very, very special. Okay, so what other radios? Let's work back down the chain. So this is kind of a new current model. What's the ICOM equivalent? Because I don't have an ICOM handheld radio. I think it's the ID 52. Yeah.
Yeah, the 52 is the one with the color screen. It's like a mini 705. And if you kind of approach it from the 705 standpoint, it'll make sense how to use it. But if you try to like pick it up and use it like a regular HT, it'll be very confusing.
And have you used the ID 52?
Yeah, so when we went to Youth on the Air camp with the kids, they gave each one of the kids an ID 52 to play with for the time that they were there, and then they had to give it back because these are expensive radios. This one, it's a big boy. You know, in your hand, it's
compared to the FT5D.
Yeah, it's taller and might be a little bit wider and a little bit fatter, a little bit thicker front to back.
Okay, and this is kind of similar to the Yaesu, except that rather than getting C4 FM, which is a proprietary digital mode that's sort of Yaesu's fusion digital mode, you get ICOM's D-Star in this to use, which again, if you've got a hotspot or you've got a digital repeater nearby, then it doesn't matter. They'll usually all be compatible, especially a hotspot, because your hotspot will detect what you've got. Don says the Kenwood THD 75. We will look at that because that's probably the
super high priced.
that is super high. And Don says no APRS on the ID 52.
No, it's got DPRS instead of APRS.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need to run it through your hotspot.
I've never experimented with DPRS. Jonathan's right. D-Star is not ICOM's, but ICOM runs only D-Star. They don't run other digital. D-Star is a Japanese invention. One of the, I should have covered this before with the FT5, is the FT5 does come with an ultra-wide receive. Let me actually just bring up the specs of the 5D, just so that we can compare these two, because these are kind of like very comparable, aren't they? If you're looking for a mid to high end radio, it's one of these two. So the receive is 0.5. They both transmit on 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and the FT5 receives from 0.5 megahertz right up to 1 gigahertz. Now, obviously, it's not going to be like super sensitive across that entire range compared to a dedicated receiver. But I've used another Yaesu, which I've got here, which I'll show, to listen to 6 meters and also to listen to 10 meters as well, FM, and it works quite well. The ICOM only receives from 88 to 174 and 225 to 479. So... Jonathan says, is it telling that I have all three in the house, the ID52, the FT5, and the TH75? Which one of the three do you prefer? Jonathan, let me know. And yes, Nate is correct. D-Star was JARL's creation. Yep. Any other thoughts on the ID52?
The knob at the top is rather fragile for the price tag on that radio.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, most people I see that have those radios, the knobs are broken, and there's a 3D printed knob available.
Compared to the 5D, the knob's quite good.
Well, I haven't seen anybody that's broken the 5D's knob, and it's also a little shorter than the 52.
So the 52 sticks out a little bit further. Is that what it is?
Well, I don't know if that's the reason why it breaks or not, but it's obviously more leverage.
Yep. And this is the high-end radio, the one that Don was talking about earlier, the Kenwood THD75. This is probably the newest of the three. Is that correct? I think, yes.
Yeah.
And this thing is transmit, again, the ICOM TX2 and 70, FT5 270, but the Kenwood says here that in the USA at least it transmits on 2 meters, 220 megs, and also on 70 centimeters. So you get 3 bands in one.
Nice.
The receive is 0.1 to 524. So you get, half the receive coverage of what the Yaesu does, but then you get more receive coverage than what the ICOM does, I think.
I always thought the Kenwood had more receive coverage than the Yaesu.
So did I. I thought that it went all the way up a little bit higher because my dual band mobile Kenwood goes up to like 1.3 gigs. It goes quite high. So there's that. This has APRS in it as well, similar to the Yaesu.
It's my understanding with the 75, they had to upgrade the internal chip because of part shortage stuff due to the, part shortage issues. And as a result, this one now has an APRS digipeater built into it.
Yep, APRS with digipeater. So this effectively is the same, or almost the exact same radio as a D74. It's just got a couple of upgrades, right?
Yeah, and so they had to get it recertified because that's the way FCC laws work. And as a result, they gave it a new name. So it does all the same things the 74 does, plus like a little tiny bit extra.
It looks big too. I know that we
It's pretty
saw
big.
it last year behind the glass. I haven't held one, but it was pretty big. But most of Kenwood's radios are like that, and I've got an older model of this, which is quite big in the hand too. So the Yaesu, the 5D probably wins for compactness and probably weight as well. But with that, like Don says, the battery life sucks on all of those. But the 5D and the 3DR have a great aftermarket replacement. I think with HTs you kind of have to expect that the battery's going to be crap, right? Get a couple of spare batteries. Tucker does say, I like that the FT5 and the FT3 can be charged directly from 12 volts through the barrel jack. Now, my older Kenwood can do that. I wonder if this newer Kenwood can. Someone might be able to answer that question. It looks like it can. 11 to 15.9 volts external you can put into it, which is good because it makes charging when you're out a lot easier than having to find a wall to plug into.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're making a
ICOM
ham
does it as
radio
well.
product, it needs to be 12 volts.
Yep.
I mean, it'd be like making a vacuum cleaner series that runs on, 212 volts. Like nobody has that in their house.
No. Jonathan says this D75, and I know we actually spoke about this before, is that the Kenwood is so annoyingly close to perfect, and you kind of expect that for the price. This thing is probably, I think it's like $700 and something dollars? I can't remember how much it is. I'll have to look it up. But it's not cheap, that's for sure. Just having a quick look here, trying to find $750. So do you get that much more? Like we said, this is a high end handheld radio. It does come with some drawbacks compared to previous models. This also does come with D-Star as well. But is it worth the extra price? Let us know in the chat what you think. If it is,
I have a real hard time justifying the price on this one.
It is a difficult one. It is. Ryan.
Well,
the ID52 is the best shower radio ever.
Well, let me qualify what I just said. I am not disagreeing that all of the technology and all of the parts that they put in add up to $800. I'm disagreeing that I have trouble spending $800 on that radio because I can't use all of those parts to good fortune.
Well, one of the things is that Kenwood was always historically a good radio for working satellites on full duplex, for instance, whereas this D75 doesn't have full duplex.
Right.
Whereas the D74, am I right? Am I wrong in saying that it doesn't have it? I'm pretty sure that the D74 was full duplex.
I thought the
Someone
72
might.
was full duplex and the 74 and 75 weren't.
Oh, 72. Sorry, yes, my 72 is full duplex. The 74 is not duplex. So they kind of didn't improve on that, which is a little bit strange because of how expensive it is. But
Yeah. And then Mike's saying the same thing. Have you looked at the price of a fully optioned Motorola radio? I haven't, but at the same time, I'm also personally myself not going to get the return on investment of that either.
we'll see. And also, too, further to Mike's point, he's probably right. The Motorola's are sort of geared towards commercial and industrial, where people just throw wads of money towards it, so they can develop it. But yeah, you're right. They are quite expensive. Getting
And they
even
might be
getting
totally
second,
worth it for those people, but I'm not one of those people.
well, even getting second-hand Motorola's can be quite an expensive journey. Jonathan says that he prefers the ICOM's menu system, as it echoes the system found on 7300, 9700, and 705. So that's one thing to consider. The Yaesu, which I think most of us can agree with, can be confusing. I don't know whether it was a point in time where the menu system changed, but in most of my older Yaesus, it feels like they had I think they called it, they might even still call it the same. I have to open up the manual and have a look in this FT5. Set and forget. They used to have menus that you would go in, you'd set them, and you wouldn't have to touch them again unless you wanted to change something. So in that regard, it was good. And a lot of my older Yaesus were really easy to follow and follow the menu structure. But I'm not sure whether, a lot of the newer Yaesus, especially the 5D, I know some people struggle with the menus in this radio. How did you go with those? Because
it's a little difficult.
I looked at the manual and I was like,
There is some of that set it and forget it stuff, but like if you want to turn on APRS from like I opened this thing out of the box and I plugged the battery in and I turned it on and I want to send my APRS message, it's going to take you. You've got to get out the manual. You've got to read through it. You've got to have a friend nearby. You've got to go into the deep F menu and set a whole bunch of options in order to just get APRS to work. And I realize APRS is slightly complicated, but it's not that complicated.
no. Ryan's doing a lot of operating from the shower. This is this is interesting. The FT5, actually, let's talk about that. Is it watertight? The FT5 is IPX7 waterproof. It's not submersible. You can't stick it under the water. Well, it's not recommended that you submerge it. It's splash proof and what's the other word? Splash proof and dust proof, splash proof. And I think all of these radios fall under that category. None of these radios are fully submersible. The ID52 is the same. And the Kenwood. I mean, if you drop it in a river and you pick it back out, it's probably going to be okay, but you can't like stick it underwater for a
time,
yeah. So Nate's similar talking about the menu systems. So before we go and open up that FT5, are there any other radios that we should compare before we start to move into some of the other models that we had here? One
You're
of the things,
at the $400 and up price range, right?
These are all $400 and up. Yep. So when you start to get a little bit lower, that's when we get to these type of radios. This one. This is the is it the Woxon, the Wouxon? I don't know how you say it.
The Oshon.
I say Oshon.
I say Woxon.
Woxon. I say Woxon.
And
this
mean
is
no
about
offense by that. I'm just American.
Yeah. Well, this is about $250. This radio. This is a little bit different though. This is quad band. So this has 6 meters in it. Am I in VFO mode? Yes, I am. So I can show that. No, I can't for some reason. I'm in memory mode. I think that's why. It's got 6 meters, 2 meters. I think it's got 220 as well. Does it have 220?
Yeah, I don't know what happened,
and
but with modern
70
radios, they're
centimeters.
taking off the what's it called? They're taking off the quick ability to switch between VFO and channel mode.
Yes, let me. It's that. It's one of these buttons. Let me just share that. And I had this radio. I did a review on it, and I really like it. There were a couple of things with it that were a little bit iffy. One of the things was that it's got full duplex. So I thought, you beauty, you could use it for satellite modes. The only problem is that it desenses. Here we go. No, I figured out what was going on. So the problem is you can only have 6 meters on the top VFO and not the bottom VFO, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So you have to change where you're inputting it. So yeah, it'll transmit on 6, it'll transmit on 2, it'll transmit on 220 and also 440 as well. So it's a quad band radio. It's about $250. Rechargeable through USB-C. It doesn't have any of the digital features. It doesn't have APRS. It doesn't have all that stuff that the high-end radios have with Bluetooth, all this sort of thing. But you might not need all of those, and it might just work perfectly for what you want. So yeah, I really like this radio, actually. I use this around home. I've got my All-Star Node, which is sitting here, and occasionally I'll have a listen to it or have a listen to something on it. And I use this radio around the house because it's just easy. And the audio, it's got a superhet receiver in it too, so it's not like it's a really nice sounding radio. Yeah, if you want to find out more, just have a look on my channel. You'll find the review of it. Just have a look for the Waxon KG-Q10H. And this is sort of a mid-tier radio. It's quite interesting that there isn't really anything. I don't think there's really anything that's on the market from Yaesu, ICOM, or Kenwood that compete with this as far as quad band or even tri-band's concerned. Is there any tri-band radios on the market at the moment?
Well, you mentioned the D75 as being tri-band.
Yeah, sorry, I meant tri-band as in adding 6 meters in as well.
I meant tri-band as in my specific favorite 3 bands, not the ones that are available.
Don, I use 6 meters on my handheld all the time because I have 6 meter repeaters around that I can use, and I also talk on simplex. So, but that's,
you have an installed
mine.
base of users at 6 meters.
Well, that's the thing. I built the 6 meter repeater to make that happen. So every HF radio pretty much every modern HF radio that you get has 6 meters in it, but no one uses it. So, Don says the Waxon is my favorite HT. I prefer the 8Hs. It does not desense. Yes, sorry. So I covered that briefly and then I lost track. So the desense issue is when you're transmitting and receiving at the same time. So when you're talking via a satellite and you want to hear yourself, or you want to see how you're getting in to the satellite, you'll be transmitting on the radio and then hearing yourself echo back through. You usually have to wear a pair of headphones or something to stop feedback. But it's good because then you can hear how you're getting in. The problem with this radio is when you transmit, you desense yourself, so you end up not being able to hear the satellite as well when you're transmitting because because of the desense issue in the radio. But it's not too bad for everything else.
You need a circulator.
I don't know what I need, but I do need something. Jonathan talks about the last tri-band radio, I think the VX8 from Kenwood. I'll show you the next for Kenwood. Yaesu. I'll show you the next radio that we've got off the list here soon. But yeah, it's not a bad radio. I don't mind this. This is mid-tier, about $250. Now, do you have anything that fits into the mid-tier category at all? Or any other radio there?
So the Radioddity GA-5WB model, and you got one of these to play with.
I do.
And then the Vero N76 is the daddy of this radio. This is a Vero N76 VR N76 in Radiodity clothing. And this one's
Now,
pretty cool
either of
because
those
it has
digital?
this one is analog only, but it does APRS, and it has a Android app or an iPhone app that turns this thing into a digipeater. And so like you have a lot of functionality because I'm going to carry this, and I'm also going to carry my phone. That's just the way of
Mm.
life today. I'm going somewhere, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have both anyway, so I might as well have one that uses it. What I would like to see is a non-cell phone Android-based HT, because that'll change your perception of why there should be an Android-based HT. Once they put the cell phone in, you're like, this isn't as good as my iPhone or my Galaxy S29 or whatever is out there. It's like you take the phone part out, you don't have to worry about what kind of camera it has, and then you start talking about the different apps you can run, like Repeater Book, and then push the button, and immediately you go to that frequency, and it's all programmed and ready to roll.
Mm.
No, James. No.
James is talking about his UVK5 with mods isn't mid-tier. Not quite.
We haven't climbed that far down the ladder yet. Good radio, but haven't climbed that far
Yeah.
down the ladder yet.
We're getting there. We're sliding down the ladder slowly. That Radiodity radio, I had a bit of a play around with it, and yeah, I do like the APRS features that they have in the app built in. I think there's just a few things they could tweak with it just to make it a little bit better and a little bit more user friendly. It's not the most user friendly radio going around, but after you play around with it for a little while, it gets a little bit easier. So. But
And the app on your phone is lovingly called HT because they ran out of.
It's
ran out of
hard to
interesting
find
names.
on the App Store. Did you find it hard to find? I had to.
Well, I knew what I was looking for.
That's the thing. If you don't know what you're looking for, then you're in trouble. But yeah. Don mentions earlier. I think Jody was talking about Elinco being sort of a quirky company that gives us all sorts of strange things. Elinco was my first dual band HT. Elinco was the Baofeng of the early 90s. The thing with the Elinco, and also Yaesu used to do this. Yaesu used to do all sorts of quirky things. They did like a lot of monoband 1.2 gigahertz radios, which was interesting. Elinco do a lot of monoband like VHF, UHF radios. They do a monoband 6 and 10 meter radio. So they kind of like feel a need for a market that's oversaturated with VHF and UHF. And this is the thing that I don't understand. And we've spoken about this before in our chats and stuff offline. If one of these Chinese radio companies could cotton on to the fact that they could get in the niche market of radios for 6 meters, 10 meters, bands that aren't really 270, they could really, tap into that market. Of course, the problem is that they're not really interested in that. They're just interested in making a radio that they can sell as many as they can. That's the problem.
Right. So this is the HT app for the Radiodity radio I just showed. Let me see if I can get it on the screen at the same time. For this radio right here. And so as I punch around, like I just pick the W9 WAR repeater off of the menu there, and then I can change over here. So it's pretty neat. And
talk about
there's not many
talk
radios
about programming. Yeah, talk about programming on that app.
Super easy. Yeah, I mean, if I just long press, and then I'm doing it backwards. Edit channel. There you go. That's your programming.
Yep.
And then let me hit more. And then under more, I can put in all my repeater tones and everything. And I can name the channel. And done. Ready to roll.
And you can get that. You can currently get that from Radiodity.
Yeah, you can get it from Radiodity, and then you can also get it from Vero. I'll have a video on the Vero radio coming out soon. And I can actually talk through the phone to the radio. So if I had a Bluetooth headset on, which I do, I could use Bluetooth with the radio and not have to worry about like picking it up. I can just sit this in my car, and then I can control it from up to 30 feet away.
I posted the wrong link in the chat there, but if you want $15 off at Radiodity, there's a link to it. There's the link to the GA5WB just there.
Yeah, Radiohead doesn't let us link directly, which is a pain.
No. Tucker asked, how good is the APRS?
So I will say that it is as good as every other radio's APRS, and that it is definitely missing something that you want, but does something that you would find interesting, but doesn't do anything 100% well.
It's missing smart beaconing, I think, which is
Yeah,
not built in. So
but it'll
using
do
it,
messaging and whatnot.
I wouldn't use it for a tracker. So if you're using it for a tracker, I wouldn't use it. But if you're using it for a fixed station, so like an iGate or for just sending messages, then it works pretty easily because you can just use the app to send messages on,
Yeah.
and you get an interactive map. Can you bring up the map, or you can't bring up the map?
I can bring up the map, but like this is APRS messaging. Jim and I were playing with it
Mm.
at Dayton.
Yeah.
And so like I'm sending messages to him, he's sending messages back. It shows up like, cell phone chat would show up. Let's go to the map and see
Yep.
there's the map and that
Which
little
doesn't
blue
show you
dot.
much.
That little blue dot is where I am. Well, I mean, it shows you what a map would show you.
But you don't have any APRS stations on that map at the moment because you probably
There's
don't
not
have
many
much
here.
APRS around. Yeah.
So there's a
Um,
couple of reasons. One is there's not many here. Two is I'm in a basement, and three is I'm just running the rubber duck on the radio. So if I improve the antenna and get it out of the basement, then I will start getting more signals in.
mm. If I think in my video I showed some APRS stations that pop up, and it's
Yeah.
it's good because the app's already on your phone. You're connected to the internet, so you can gate traffic directly to the internet using that. So it's pretty versatile. And that radio was, I think, $180. So now we're starting to
Yeah, it's
get
been around
down.
200. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're getting into that. There's that mid-tier section.
Eric's
If
trying
we
to be
go,
spicy.
yeah, I showed that earlier on.
I think the only reason why Meshtastic is better is because you don't need a license and you can do encryption. But
Yes.
everything else can be done with this radio and this Android app, which is the same way that Meshtastic works. There's only like one Meshtastic device that has a keyboard on it.
The, like, so I played with Meshtastic a little bit. Now that we're kind of getting a little bit off track here, but the only issue, Meshtastic is great for experimenting and playing with radio and antennas and setting up, a little node and everything like that. That's great. The only thing that is with it is Meshtastic itself, if you just stick to that, it's a little bit like, I can send messages. Okay. Like, can you send photos? No. Can you do anything else? No. You can have, sure, off-grid chat channels, which is cool, which is good, might be essential. You could use it. There are some practical applications, like we have horse rides where we provide communication services for them. So you could set up you could set up nodes on pretty much every, horse or whatever. And if someone ran into trouble somewhere in the trail, they could send a message
You know
out or
where they
something like
were.
that. Yep. But
Well, here's the controversial thing. Meshtastic has grown more in 1 year than ham radio HTs have grown in 20 years.
yeah, well, that's not hard, is it? So
It shouldn't be, but
it shouldn't be. But LoRa, if you remove
Eric,
Meshtastic and you go to LoRa, where you can do more stuff and you can send telemetry and you can do all this other stuff,
yeah,
then it's starting to get and it's like super low power levels too. So it's the range on it is absolutely
milliwatts, yeah.
ridiculous. Meshtastic is targeted for IoT and exchange of sensor data, not streaming data. Yeah, but I'm talking about Meshtastic, the actual Meshtastic, the app. LoRa is definitely a different beast and a lot more interesting, especially to me. But anyway, we're getting down the path of Meshtastic, which is a completely different discussion.
$60,
altogether.
Eric, $60.
Now, what about this radio? The FT65.
The most loved radio. No, it's the FT60 is the one that's the most loved, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the complaint about
Oh,
this
the
one is
FT60
this
is
is
the one with
just
the
a
red
radio,
screen.
man.
It's not just a radio.
No, it's not.
Is that what you just said? It's
I
not
said
just
it
a radio?
is just a radio.
Oh, right. This is
270. That's it. Go away.
well. This is the one that everyone says you should get rather than get a Baofeng, right?
Yeah.
This is like the entry level. I mean, just over $100. We're starting to get to. I'd still class this as mid tier. No, I'd class this as low tier. And I think that Baofeng and Quansheng and everything else should be called below low tier, sub tier.
So what does this one have that the FT60 or the FT70 doesn't have?
I don't know about
it's not being sold anymore.
I think they're not being sold anymore. This is IP54 dust and water rated, and the fact that it's a Yaesu, it's a brand name. Let me FT60. I don't think you can get the FT60s anymore. Oh no, I'm wrong. You can.
189. It's actually even more expensive. The other one was 130.
It is more expensive. 130 odd. This is 190. So
is this one still IPXX rated?
Good question. Don't think so. Great product description.
Yeah. I think if I was telling somebody to go with a brand new, out of the box, brand name radio, it would be the FT70.
Which again, we're now getting back towards the mid tier, aren't we? This is sort of, we'll see. So this is comparable to the Waxon that we showed earlier, but this comes with digital in it. So rather than quad band, you might want digital.
Right. So this will.
But is this like a poor man's version of digital? When I mean poor man's version, it'll still do it, but it's not as flashy.
Well, so it's funny because this is the only radio that I've done Fusion on, so I don't really have any. I've never even keyed this thing up on Fusion. I have nothing to compare it to. And the FT70 works. It's fine. I don't know how much more flash you need, but I also don't do a lot of Fusion.
See, the
705 will find your nearest D-star repeater based on your GPS coordinates, and the 52 will do that also. So that's nice. That's flashy.
See, this is the thing, isn't it? So I think that if anyone's going to get anything out of this stream, which I don't know whether people get anything out of what we're talking about, but hopefully they do. But
over everybody's head. And not you in the audience, just like people on
no, that's
that
right.
Like curious, like what is this about? Oh, never mind. It's just two guys talking.
Yeah. So those that are watching later, if you get to this part, congratulations, you made it 38 minutes into the video. If there's anything that you get, a lot of people will say, "What handheld should I buy? What should be the first handheld radio that I should buy?" And I hate this response that we have because it depends. And it's always it depends. Because what you should do is get down a piece of paper and write down on one side all of the features which are essential. Okay, I need a radio that does 2 meters and 70 centimeters. Okay, they're essential. I need a radio that's waterproof because I'm going to be taking it outside. I need a radio that blah, blah, blah. Put all the essential ones down. Then put all of the, what do you call it?
Nice to
features, features, nice to have, but they're not necessarily essential. And then go through and find Bluetooth. Is Bluetooth essential? You might use it like once every now and then, but you might do running or something like that, and you want to pair it to your Bluetooth headphones, and you've got your radio sitting here, so you don't want to have cables and all that sort of stuff. So you kind of need to look at what you want versus what you could have, and then work out what's the best radio that suits. Sam says the first number one is right, that you want one that receives and then one that transmits. That's always a good place to start. Skeeter says, oh, I froze up there for a minute. Skeeter says one you can afford. So sometimes someone said earlier on in the chat, buy
Buy once, cry
I'm
once.
messing this up, aren't I? Buy once, cry once. So,
Well, that's the thing.
so
If
yeah,
you are a
sometimes you
brand
might
new
need
ham
to pay a
and
little bit
like
more.
2 meters 70 centimeters is active in your area, and there's APRS in your area, and like all of this stuff exists, D stars in your area, then the Kenwood 75 would be a lot of fun. You wouldn't exhaust its abilities for a very, very long time. My problem is I wouldn't begin to use its abilities for a long time where I'm at.
Don says, please remember HTs are the QRP radius of UHF VHF. Do not think you'll be able to reach a repeater 100 miles away with trees in your way.
5 watts. 4.
But you can make it a challenge, and you can start to build antennas to try and extend your range, and you can go portable up on, do SOTA using handheld radios and work repeaters 100 miles away. So there is that. But yes, if you're in your house, don't expect that you're going to be talking a long way away. As Ghostman here says, if you don't have any repeaters or a digital mode with a hotspot, don't get a handheld. And it's kind of it's funny because in the US, you guys have the technician license, which is like VHF and above, and like the smallest bit of 10 meters. So you guys kind of need to be general to be able to use HF, and that with HF you can have a lot more success easier with long distance contacts. Whereas here we're the opposite. Our entry level allows certain HF bands, so it's interesting. Oh, okay. What we were going to show next was, do you have any other radios to show?
Well, I mean, we were talking about the Baofengs, but I also there's some really weird fun stuff like this one here. This is the LilyGo T Tower, and it is an open source radio, and it's got a lightsaber-esque kind of case. I'm not a fan of the case, but it's the only one they made. Yeah.
That was a lightsaber, by the way. We're going to get a copyright strike now from Lucasfilms.
I know. I'm like dead on with that. Let me turn it on.
Yeah.
And it's a little APRS radio, and it does fun stuff, but it's a imagine like an Arduino built into a radio. So you actually can program this thing.
Don, you need to build a repeater.
I still want to play with it a little bit,
and
but
link it.
It does radio stuff.
Mm.
So there it is. Key down, push to talk, FM voice.
Wayne says the FT5D's Bluetooth feature won't pair with anything other than their own Bluetooth earpiece. I need to pull mine out of the box to test that. So, right. What about... Now, I'm including this in mid-tier because the only other choices, because obviously if you don't have anything you can get brand new, you have to go used. And these are my two other handheld radios, used radios. So we mentioned the THD72. So this is the D75 radio, but an older model. And as you can see, it's a bit of a chunky one. It's quite large. The battery life sucks on this thing, but I mean, it is quite old for starters. I can get a replacement battery. It's got APRS. It's got a full TNC in it. It doesn't have any digital. Full TNC directly through USB there. I can plug in a external power, so I can run it off 12 volts. It does quite a bit. And I can, view APRS stations in here and view further info on them. So I can see what it transmitted, how far it is away. It's 200 kilometers away. It's not moving, so I can't see the speed and everything. So there's that. And this one, this is my main handheld that I use the most, although the screen's, I don't know if it's getting harder to see or if it's just getting old, but this is my VX8, which is a tri-band radio. It's got the 6-meter attachment here on the top. You could unscrew this and put a shorter piece on here for 270, or you can put the 6-meter loading coily bit on the top for 6, which I run at full time like that. This does do APRS, but you have to have the GPS to plug into the top. which you can't get anymore, and they're very rare, and they're very bulky. But you can. I've seen some people make their own GPS systems up and plug into the top for APRS on this radio. And these two radios you could probably find on the used market. This thing I do like because it is submersible. You can stick this under the water. And I bought this so that...
faded.
Probably. I don't think I've ever dropped this under the water. This does WiseX as well. It doesn't do Fusion or C4FM, as most of their older Yaesus do. This is, I think, from around about this model is where the menus started to go downhill. They've got all of these. Geez, that screen is real hard to see, isn't it? This is where everything was a little bit... See, you'd think up and down would move the menus, but it doesn't. You actually need to move the knob to move all of the menu items.
Yeah, I mean, I almost wish they would hand these radios to a 12-year-old and go, do it. And the first thing a 12-year-old would say is, why don't the up and down arrows work?
Yeah.
Everybody else is too shy to say something that direct.
And also, like the volume knob, I need to press and hold volume and then turn this knob up here to adjust the volume.
The FT70 does that also. And it's so that you don't accidentally turn the volume all the way down and not hear the emergency that's coming across.
Arnold, I don't know if there is a contrast adjustment because I'd have to go digging into the menus to actually see, but I don't think so. Message, goodness me. Look how many, there's like LCD. Oh, look at that, LCD contrast. Now, how do I select it?
Hit the menu button again? Will that exit the menu? There it is.
Then you...
Oh, look at that. Now you can see it.
Oh.
Arnold, legend.
But that's 32 levels and I was already on 24. Look, if I get to...
It's gone.
It's gone. The screen is going in this radio.
Oh, you still have the screen protector on. That's why.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, that's not a screen protector. That's a custom stuck out thing that I put on there. But that's not the reason why the screen's going bad.
That looks good now. Now you can see it.
Yeah, it'll probably die a lot quicker now.
Oh, it's got a flashlight. That's like the number one feature.
Did I tell you the story about the flashlight?
No.
So this radio I was using, I was walking up a mountain to do some work on a repeater one. I was going to say evening, one late afternoon. The fog rolled in and it got really dark and we ended up walking home in the dark and I used my phone light most of the way. But the problem is the phone went flat, the light disappeared. So I turned on the flashlight on this and it's amazing. It doesn't give out a lot of light, but it's amazing how much light it is at nighttime. Mm-hmm. And it got us back to the car. We actually had two of these, so... Oh, look at that, Arnold. That's fantastic. Look at this. That's just a new radio now. Oh, too bad the contrast has turned up completely full and my screen's going to die in another year or two. But
it's a makeup light, right, Randall?
I need to. The problem is I don't think Yaesu will be able to replace that. They won't have the parts. So maybe I should run it at low contrast.
Better stock up now.
Oh dear. Anyway, so they're used radios. The Kenwood is quite expensive because it's very rare. The VX8 you'll probably find a little bit cheaper. But yeah. Don asked, will HROs ship to Australia? Yes, they will. They just charge obviously whatever the international shipping rate is. HRO's website's a little bit annoying because you have to you place an order or you contact them. And then they will send you a final invoice. So you don't really know what the shipping rate is until you get that invoice from them. DX Engineering, at least when you go to their website, they will give you a quote and a final, well, not a quote, but a final price, which they've obviously just pulled from UPS or USPS or something like that to send it out. But yes, they will ship. If you want a cheap torch, Baofeng. Yes, VX8s. So anyway, that radio there, that radio is it's not that old. That's probably about 6 years old. That radio. So I'm surprised that the screen has gotten as bad as what it has. Oh, Jody, he's found a replacement module. Is it easy to replace?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Easy
gonna,
compared to what? Not
I'm
replacing
gonna
it and
have
not
to.
seeing anymore?
Well, man, I mean, come on. This thing doesn't look like, because it's all sealed. Look, it's got rubber gaskets all on it. There's two screws here. You take those two screws out, who knows what's behind this? Like, you got to take that knob off. This thing is going to be an absolute pain in the ass to pull apart and to put
No,
back
no
together.
punches. No holding the punches
Well, it
back
is.
there.
It is. It's going to be an absolute pain. I love how thin though this right. It's great.
Well, that's the same way the 5D is if you ever took yours out of the box. It's pretty thin.
Well, here's the big. Should we do this?
Go for it, man.
Is this the official?
The official unboxing. There's no going home now.
Are you gonna? This is the problem with doing this is that the resale value is going to drop. No, it's not. It's an amateur radio. Of course, it's not going to.
Right.
to drop.
Well, I mean,
it's not like
not only
a car.
that, but you did the hand carried from United States to Australia shipping on that, so you got a big discount.
This is a US model, as we'll be plainly see. Now, are you going to commentate this?
Is the band plan different?
No, it's the
Ladies
same.
and gentlemen, the opening is here. Dun, 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 dun.
Manual. No one needs a manual. Throw that away.
Now, with this radio, you do. Oh, it's still wrapped in plastic. He wasn't lying, folks.
Yeah, this is legit plastic. Like, I have not rewrapped this, by the way. What's this
Hayden and I
thing?
have been talking about
is-
this for a year. Like, should I open this? I don't want to open this. What am I going to do with this? Why would I do this? Oh, you don't
What?
wanna
Oh,
use
this
that
is
thing
sealed. I can't even get into this. I can't open that up.
Yeah, you don't want that anyway. I don't like that. Once you
Why is
put
there-
that on, that's the belt holster thing. Once you put that
Oh,
on,
right.
it won't sit flat on the table anymore. It sits like this, and so it
okay.
falls over all the time. So
Well,
actually,
the screws.
I took mine back off and went with the regular clip.
Well, the screws in there, so I don't want to undo that.
Don't lose
So
it,
just to prove that this is not a hoax. Look, there's the US plug. So I've got like a pile of. Oh, I'm still keeping it in the plastic. I've got a pile of travel adapters.
Well, that'll slide off too, won't it? Yeah, it'll slide off.
Does it? Oh, where can I get a drop-in Australian plug for that? Do they provide one? They provide a European one. Oh, geez. I love, at least with my other Yaesu,
Sad.
and sad.
It's a
They
sad
obviously
adapter.
know sad ham, sad. So I
What's
go,
the
where's
output
my
power on that charger?
I'm like, where's my sad adapter? 10.5 volts at 1 amp.
That's a very weird voltage.
It is a very weird voltage.
We're gonna charge that in 2 days flat.
Belt clip. We can come back to that one later. That's that thing.
The US
What's this?
adapter, the UK adapter. What is that?
What is this? Oh, this is
USB
going to be
cable.
the. Is it? Do I need to open
bet.
it? I'm still hesitant to open it.
Too late now, man. No going back. This is why I have a pocket knife.
Eric
Might
says.
open
Eric
nice
says
and
turn
good.
the plug upside down. No, I just need to bend the pins at 45 degrees, and I can shove this into.
Yeah.
Which it's just bad. I shouldn't have said that. That is a bad thing to do. Don't do it because this is not really compliant for Australia because we have little insulating bits on the pins, so you can't pull these out. But anyway, don't do that. Don't bend it. I don't have.
I wonder
yes,
if it's still like micro
Here's
USB,
our plug.
mini USB,
See?
not micro USB. Yeah.
There's our Australian plug, 45 degrees, and see how we got those little insulating bits on the plug.
Yeah.
So if you pull it slightly out of the wall, you can't jam a knife on it and get electrocuted.
Stupid shit hurt,
Because-
folks.
Because, kids are... Oh, come on.
Where's your knife, man?
I do have a signal stick. Hold on. Hold on.
You guys not allowed to have knives over there?
I don't know where my knife's gone.
It's in your pocket.
No, it's not. This will do. Side cutters.
Right.
I'm not prepared, but I've been preparing for this moment for over a year. Oh, after all of that, I opened that up for a...
Oh, it is
Oh,
regular
really?
US
For a
micro.
mini USB. Great.
Mini USB. I always get those confused.
The antennae.
And apparently these antennae are actually really good for how small they are. Like,
Can
apparently
you
Yaesu did a good job.
can you explain to me why every person that has one of these on the planet seems to put the little short stubby antenna on, which is going to be a piece of crap?
I have no idea. Easier to carry.
Ooh.
I put the BNC adapter on.
This is a bit of a... Geez, you need to have a big handhold, this, don't you? It's
Oh,
wide.
that's right. You're short. I forgot. I haven't seen you in a year.
It's a wide radio, though.
It is
Feels
wider
nice.
than most radios.
It feels nice.
I mean, you know that battery's dead, right?
Well, let's find out. 2.2 amps. How do I turn this thing on?
There is
Up
a
here?
power button on the left-hand side, the bottom orange button.
Oh, really? Oh.
Oh, it's got
Oh,
power.
really?
Now, see, this
gotta
is
put-
the one thing that Yaesu does very well. If you type your call sign in right now, this radio is configured for Fusion. Done.
But how? Do I need to tap the screen?
Please enter your call sign. Yeah. Hit the screen. Touch it. Push a key. I forget. It's been a year since I did this. There you go.
Oh, goodness. This is... I'm going to have to take this off, aren't I?
Yep.
I can't do that. Oh, here we go. I don't have to. How do I progress? Oh,
Hit the PT. Oh, you can push it there. There you go.
so you say once you put in your call sign, it's good to go on Fusion.
Yeah, as opposed to like the 705, you turn the radio on it like,
And you have
6
to
years later,
register
you
and
get
do
on
all that
D-Star.
sort of stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to register anywhere to get on Fusion.
Yeah, good. Now what?
I don't
Oh,
know.
too far. Someone help me.
PTT?
Oh, that's dangerous with no antenna. Oh,
There you go.
look
Done.
how much battery level is left.
None.
I think we need to charge this bad boy. Can we see a voltage? Can we see?
When you turn it on, turn it off, turn it back on again, I think that's what it tells you.
Six point
6.6.
six. Well,
Ah.
it probably needs a charge.
Oh, and if
Oh.
you plug it in while it's on, it will reboot. And if you unplug it while it's on, it will reboot. And then if it's
Well,
off
that's-
when you charge it, the screen is so dim that you can barely tell that it's charging.
All right, that's annoying. Oh, I do like it. Yeah, okay, so you can cycle through all of the bands. I do like the large display though. Like compared to this bad boy.
Right?
Now that I've turned the contrast up, I can see all of the icons on the screen on this too.
Screw that antenna on before you hurt yourself.
It means I got to open up the bag.
Or use the one off of your VX8 then.
I could have done, but I've already done it now.
Oh, too late.
Yep, too late. There goes the
Bold
value.
move. Hayden rips the antenna out of the antenna bag. Thus
Actually,
lowering
no,
the
I
resale
got this-
value by 17 cents.
Well, no, I got this. I got this radio so cheap at Hamvention that it's actually it's been a good investment holding onto it for a year because I've had all these people who want to buy it off me.
Just wait for them to make the FT7D, the FT6D.
Oh, jeez. Whoa!
Ooh, flashlight,
Whoa!
stereo lights.
It's double. Now worth $72.50. Yeah.
The antenna.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't have a GPS.
how the hell did I
lock
get
yet,
into that menu?
right?
I'm going to have to read the menu and figure out what all this stuff means, aren't I?
It shouldn't be this hard to send an APRS message. Like you should go in and there should be somewhere to type a message. And the fact that you don't have APRS turned on yet because you just turned the radio on for the first time shouldn't stop it. It should go, you would like to send
Oh,
a message and you don't have APRS on. Would you like to turn it
so,
on? Yes.
oh, goodness. Okay.
I want to say there's like 26 options in this menu, and this is just the APRS menu.
You're wrong. 25, 27,
27.
28.
28. I was close. 26 is 23 too many.
I want to compare this to my Kenwood and see how well it goes for APRS. Geez, I'm excited now. Can't believe I waited all this time.
All the things you could have done. The band scope is pretty cool.
You know what'll happen, don't you? The radio's going to die in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever that means.
39 channels.
So, how does it go with fat fingers as well?
I wouldn't know.
What's? Oh, that's that you can send pictures if you plug in a USB camera, right?
I have that camera. It hurts.
Is it like Game Boy Color days where you'd have the camera that like it shoots in like 70, 144p
by 160? It's a nice microphone. That's the camera. The camera mic.
Who decided that would be a good idea? But anyway.
And it takes forever because I think it sends at 1200 baud. It takes forever to send the message. And if anybody keys up while you're sending, start over.
There's a lot of config on here. Yep.
And if you have a friend that's got a...
Don says 2.0 is live. You can open us both up in each browser and listen in each ear.
Well, he's going to do a 20-minute intro, so, you've got time.
Yeah. Well, this is cool. Does it have the version 11 firmware, or is the waiting in the box too long? How do I view the version firmware?
I don't know. Let me turn mine on to see if I can find it. Yeah, mine's 7.7 volts. Suck it, Hayden.
I need to plug mine in.
Long press.
No, go back. That's going to be using Bluetooth. I can't do that. The battery's going to go flat. Once you flatten the battery, then config.
Yeah, I'm looking. Dial knob change. I don't want to change the knob. Password.
I don't know what I'm looking for. What's GM? General Motors?
Right.
That's startup, maybe. Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah, we can't figure it out.
We can't figure out how to view what version firmware is on here. Group monitor. Surely it's in here. There's an entire menu button for call sign. Is there an
device list? That seems like a way to... It doesn't say Bluetooth device list, but it is the Bluetooth device list.
Yeah. I have no idea what group monitor is.
That's for Wires X stuff. C4FM stuff.
Config. Display then number 10. Oh.
I didn't get down that far. I was on 8.
IMP Tech. Legend. Hang on. Oh, hold on. Fat fingers.
So this week in ham radio, it's going to be everybody with FT5D, how to update your firmware.
Come on.
You're on 9.
I know, but...
Just push the F menu button.
I can't. It's not.
That's because you have that screen protector on. Put it in the middle of the screen instead of the bottom.
I can't because it's the last menu option.
Oh, nice. Then press the F menu button.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, yours. How did you? We ordered ours at the same time on the same day from the same place, and you have a newer version than I do. I'm 1.1, and you're 1.11.
Hang on. Look,
Oh, look at that, side by
1.1
side.
and so I'm one version ahead of you, but I've got a newer radio and I've never updated this out of the box.
Right, that's crazy.
Have you updated yours out of the box?
No, obviously not.
I think Ken's getting a little nervous here. He's saying that it should start charging it. He's probably right.
So I got to go and get my FT5D box out of the box of boxes and get that data cable out of it because I don't have the data cable.
I'm going to I'm going to plug mine in and start charging. I think that's going to be the next thing to do. And just how did mine update over the air when it's just been sitting in the box for a year and a half? Check serial numbers. Well,
Ghostman says your VX8 battery should fit.
Mine came from when we say we bought ours at the same time. I bought mine, but mine got shipped from the Milwaukee store. Yours was at Handvention.
Oh yeah, mine was handed to me. So mine was old stock. Yours was new old
stock. Yours was definitely old stock. Did someone say that the batteries are interchangeable?
Yeah, Ghostman's been shouting at you for half an hour.
Has he?
Put the VX8 battery on. Put the VX8 battery on. He's probably right. Oh yeah, look at that. Yep, done. It'll fit.
Is this going to blow my radio up?
No, it's a dead battery.
Oh. So that's the and it's I got double the amperage now for my VX8.
Let's see how dead this battery is.
Well, I don't think I've charged it in a while.
7.6.
It's half.
Good. That's what it's supposed to be, I think.
Oh no! Now I've found a reason to keep this radio because it means that I can get a battery. Because the battery life in this radio is pretty bad. But now I've got a battery pack that's double it.
The problem with any radio that has a soft on-off button is that they just drain their battery the entire time they're sitting there off. So every time I put this away, I take the battery off of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I come back after I haven't used it in a while and it's dead, and I'm like, great, I need to use it straight away, and it's dead. Very good. All right.
Next weekend on Ham Radio Nonsense.
Next weekend on Ham Radio
Nonsense. Screen protector.
Yeah. So is this not touchscreen?
It is. You just have that screen protector on that's interfering.
Oh.
It's also a long press. Long press the channel. And then you get the keypad to type in a new channel.
All right, gotcha.
And Jeff is reminding us that they make a 18650 battery pack for it. There's a guy on Toad's Discord that designed it.
Oh, nice. How do I view How good's the GPS lock? I'm downstairs here and it's flashing, so I guess I don't have a lock yet.
Yeah, same here. I'm downstairs and it's flashing.
Can I view the GPS information? Where's that?
I want to say it's under. Well, you went into the compass right away. Get back out of there, and then hit the menu button once, lightly.
Lightly.
And then hit the forward. I think it was on this screen. Camera is cam, memory, scope, display. Hit DISP, or hit forward or back or whatever. There you go.
That's kind of not what I was after, but okay.
That's the compass.
That's the compass.
How do I find the compass? There's the compass. What are you doing?
No, I said I want to find the GPS info.
That would be it.
Then the GPS shows up my location on screen, and then
you get doxxed.
Very good. Oh, it's out of the box. I'm going to have a play with this now. So it's officially been opened. I posted earlier on in the week, give me a reason why I shouldn't sell this radio, because it had been sitting in the box for a year, and then I thought, well, let's just open it up and have a look. and see.
Did anybody give
you have to turn on the... The GPS isn't the GPS on? It's flashing at the top there.
It's not. Oh, you're paused. You were frozen.
So Ken, I do have a hotspot. Ken just said, do you have a hotspot? I do, but it's not plugged into anything. This is an entirely different stream that we're supposed to be doing at some point. No lock. Yeah. Hashtag used. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm sure that I'll be able to get someone to buy it if I want to sell it. The problem is that this is the issue. Okay. And going back to what we were saying before, how many handheld radios do you need? And these are all of the mid-tier ones. So, like, how many do you need? I know the correct answer is there is no limit to how many radios you should have.
It's W plus 1, not N plus 1.
What's W?
Want.
Oh,
N
right.
plus 1 is need plus 1. You have the amount of radios you need plus 1 more for a spare.
Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah. So there's that. And then I've got another one somewhere else. Where's the other one? I don't know where the other one's
Oh,
gone.
I have a ton of them, but they're all in their boxes.
I know. You don't need these many. But these are the main four, the big four. So
which one do you carry with you every single day? You know, it's with your car keys on the way out the door. Because I know you have a mobile radio right there, mounted in the shack with a nice antenna on a tower for 276.
So I take this with me to repeater sites, okay? Mainly because it has 6 meters in it, so it also does the 6 meter repeater. I take the Woxon, I carry this around the house, and then the Kenwood I take when I need to, or if I want to use APRS or positioning info. So I guess in some regards, this is probably equivalent to the Kenwood as far as the APRS is concerned. So I'll need to check what the APRS is like and compare it to this one. See how it goes. To turn on APRS, you turn on the modem in the APRS menu.
Yeah, W4TRI is telling you to turn the power on to GPS. But that's one of like the 7 things you have to do to turn APRS on.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out when I start using it. So, that's you got the belt clip on the back of the battery. Yeah, that's because that's my existing battery.
Yeah, it's all scratched up and everything.
Is it?
Well, because it's it's the Yaesu logo. Never mind. Vertex standard. I thought it was a scratch. Standard.
So yeah, I need to compare across these two. All right. Well, do you reckon to finish off we should do this?
Hang on. Now do it.
All right. Does everyone make this noise when you do it? Oh, this is a tough one. Oh.
It was fighting back.
Yeah, it was. Bye, everyone.